from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Your source for the Department of Energy's environmental cleanup news. Energycast starts now.
Hi everyone, I'm Summer Dash. This is a really special episode. We are so thankful to be celebrating 1 year of Energycast. We've got plenty of gratitude to share with you and more to say about that, but first, for the 13th time, let's get started with some Energy Bites.
What I can tell patients is there's hope for the future. There's tremendous hope, and for significant cancers that are out there.
What a statement. We are continuing our coverage of cancer treatments coming out of Oak Ridge. A rare isotope only found here is being used in a new therapy. What's next for the clinical trials and when patients could start benefiting? Instead of big cattle, we've got big machines. Instead of riding Broncos, we ride equipment. And instead of cowboys, we've got construction workers. We are taking you to the parking lot rodeo.
You see people's tents flying in the air and crashing against trees. I mean, your heart just breaks for them.
Tents flying, an old prison, and tornadoes. This sounds like an apocalyptic movie, but it's how things unfolded at a recent outdoor event one of our employees organized. How her training at DOE helped keep people and property safe. Throughout this episode, we'll be taking a few looks back at our first year on air. Energycast was recently honored with a Hometown Media Award. It's a national honor given to community productions. You know, we started this show because we had so much to share with you. Oak Ridge has been known as the Secret City, but with the Manhattan Project long behind us, our goal was to open up. We have incredible employees doing really valuable work. It's impacting the environment, your community, even cancer research. You have a right to know what's happening in your area, and we are honored to be able to share it with you here. One of the most hopeful stories we've covered is about cancer treatment. We've been telling you about the use of an isotope found only in Oak Ridge for medical advancements, and now we have even more to share with you about that. The No One Fights Alone event held in Oak Ridge brought together government officials, execs from nuclear innovation company TerraPower and Cardinal Health, and environmental management leaders. They got to tour the sites where the work is actually happening right now. You know, our backyard is home to the world's only stockpile of uranium-233. It's left over from the previous research in the 1950s and 60s. Now, part of EM's mission is to safely get rid of that radioactive material, but first, an isotope extracted from it is being used for next-generation cancer treatment. Now, there's a limited amount of U-233, so pulling out that life-saving isotope prior to disposing of it is vital. This is all possible through a public-private partnership, and we had a chance to talk with the people who are bringing this life-saving treatment to market. There was a lot of that while talking about this.
Targeted alpha therapy is a form of nuclear medicine designed to really deliver very precise medicine just to the cancer cells.
It can hone in on the disease without damaging healthy tissue. Through this project, up to 100 times more doses will be available each year. That's nearly 500,000 annually.
It goes without saying that all of us will be subjected to have to face death at some point. But if there is a way for us to be able to prolong that and give these patients extra time, I think we'll be able to have these conversations, or physicians will be able to have these conversations with patients to give them another option to hopefully buy themselves a little bit more time.
Nuclear, isotope, pharmaceuticals, these words can feel intimidating.
Don't fear nuclear.
Who better to speak to trust in a treatment than a doctor who spent years telling patients science hadn't caught up to their cancer yet?
I mean, we've experienced it directly through some of the clinical studies that we're doing, where these patients who have exhausted all lines of therapy then get treated with a drug such as ours that uses actinium-225, and you literally see melting and disappearance of their tumors, and thereby giving these patients another lifeline to live out the rest of their lives.
Cancer doesn't care where you live. Patients and families know access is everything.
I will tell you, in the US, there won't be a zip code we can't touch, and we can reach all major medical centers within 3 hours. So that's important when you're scheduling patients and making sure timely treatment occurs.
Cardinal Health is a leader in nuclear medicine with a national network of pharmacies. Eventually, the goal is to take it global.
I will tell you what, it's humbling, especially when we visit the national labs and see what they do and see how a group of scientists and people in industry, both from industry and academia, are coming together to cure cancer one day, or at a very minimum, dramatically improve people's lives.
For those at TerraPower overseeing this kind of research, we wonder, from that vantage point, where are we in the timeline of curing cancer for good?
I don't think we're at the end. We're not at the beginning either. I would put us between the middle, maybe rounding third base, and starting to head home. And our hope for the future is, if we can't cure it, we can hold it at bay.
Until then, the slogan rings true: no one fights alone.
It takes a village and a team to bring us to this destiny that we're looking forward to.
Senator Marsha Blackburn sent in a video message to mark the occasion. Congressman Chuck Fleischmann attended and spoke at the No One Fights Alone event. So where are we in the process, and when will patients actually see the treatment? Right now, our team in Oak Ridge is extracting that thorium in hot cells. It's sent off to TerraPower while the remaining waste is shipped off for disposal. That's what's happening right now. We are told early stage clinical trials are expected to start this summer. Later stage clinical trials should come the following summer in 2024. A beloved and respected EM leader has died. We are remembering Steve McCracken. He was a friend to all who knew him in Oak Ridge. You might recall hearing from him last year when a bridge was dedicated in his name. McCracken started with DOE in the 1980s and retired in 2010 to go on to work with the Tennessee Valley Authority, leading the cleanup of the major coal ash spill. He was diagnosed with ALS several years ago. We are told a celebration of life will be held at a later date. We've got a project update just in time for International Museum Day, which falls in the month of May. The K25 viewing platform is coming soon. This is the groundbreaking. New structure will allow visitors to overlook the 44-acre footprint where the world's largest building once stood.
I think it'll really just drive home just the importance of the mission here. And I think also the importance of what the community delivers.
To be here to work on this site, to help provide the community a building in the future that they can go out and look, and even visitors to the Oak Ridge area, it's profound. I'm almost at a loss of words.
It's expected to be completed sometime in 2024. We'll have more from this event in our Energy Extras. Those are available on our social media pages. And now we've got an update for you on the low-intensity test reactor at the Oak Ridge National Lab. Last month, we told you about demolition starting. Crews have since finished clearing structures. Now workers are removing the exterior siding. That makes access easier, and it'll help the team remove the reactor from inside the building in the coming weeks. Heading over to Y12 for this next story. As you can imagine, Y12 has some high security areas. That's necessary to protect important missions there. Gene Patterson is going to show us, though, how this next project is making it a little easier for employees to have access to execute cleanup work while maintaining security.
At the Y12 National Security Complex, a project that is currently underway will modernize security, accelerate cleanup efforts, and reduce costs. The high security zone at the heart of Y12 is called the Protected Area. Right now, it covers 150 acres. Part of the Protected Area contains facilities which are vital to the ongoing national security missions at Y12 and will be for decades to come. But a large section of the Protected Area holds Manhattan Project and Cold War-era production buildings that are no longer in use and contain legacy materials which need to be cleaned up. That's where the West End Protected Area Reduction Project, or WEPAR, comes in. WEPAR will shrink the protected area from 150 acres to 80 acres. Groundbreaking on the project took place in April 2021, a big step in a partnership that included design work by Sandia National Laboratories. Right now, employees are building a new perimeter intrusion detection and assessment system boundary fence that will cut the protected area almost in half. A new entry control facility will be the gateway to the west end of the soon-to-be smaller protected area. Once the WEPAR project is complete, the biggest part of the site cleanup work can really begin. Crews managed by the Department of Energy's Oak Ridge Office of Environmental Management will have much easier access to major legacy cleanup projects because personnel and equipment will not have to travel into the protected area. WePar will keep hundreds of dump trucks from processing through a high-security portal, eliminate the need for workers to have security clearances for the cleanup projects, and allow greater use of technology. Environmental management leadership expects that change will reduce cleanup costs by more than 40%, representing a complete return on the investment of the WePar project. It will also accelerate the removal of these high-risk excess facilities. Eventually, the cleaned up acreage will free up space for potential future mission needs on site. Improving the security posture at Y12, safely bringing down legacy production buildings, and saving taxpayer funds. A win-win-win, thanks to WePar.
Our teams are moving on in. The first group of trailers were moved from the East Tennessee Technology Park to a new base of operations at the Y12 National Security Complex. These trailers will provide crews with space they need to suit up for the day's work. This move enhances logistics and paves the way for EM's major work to ramp up, like building demo.
We'll have restroom trailers, shower trailers, break trailers and office trailers, as well as lay down space for a centralized location so that we can efficiently and safely work together.
Teams are setting up that new base of operations on the footprint of the former old salvage yard over at Y12. That's an area EM had cleaned up in previous years. It's what you're seeing here. The space is on the west end of Y12, gives workers close proximity to the biggest cleanup projects on the horizon. EM is planning its final phase of cleanup at the East Tennessee Technology Park. Demolition is finished. Soil excavation is set to be complete next year. Now, the spotlight is turning to groundwater. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and State of Tennessee recently approved EM's plans on how to address groundwater in 2 of the 3 areas at the site. One plan focuses on the main plant area. The other is for the K31, K33 area. Let's go now to regulatory specialist Roger Petrie, who is here to explain the plans for the main plant.
The main contamination there is a chemical called TCE, which is a volatile organic compound. You can buy it at the car parts store. It's used as a degreaser. And we have very high concentrations in several areas of the plant site, what we call plume areas. The remedy, it's very simple in concept. It involves injecting corn oil down into the soil, into the groundwater to feed little microbes like bacteria. What they do is they eat the TCE and break it down into less harmful products over time. Feeding them the corn oil makes them multiply and reproduce, so you get more of them, so they really eat a lot of the TCE. Conceptually, it's not very hard to do. Technically, it involves a lot of work where we have to know exactly where the wells go, how deep they go, how much corn oil we have to inject, how often. Once we've done this, we're hoping that we knock the concentrations down to a level where we can implement other technologies that will eventually get us down to what we call drinking water standards, which is the final goal for any groundwater remediation.
In those plans, the K31, K33 area will be left as is and regularly monitored. Petrie explained this is the best option since levels are low there. EM recently hosted meetings to discuss all of these plans. You can weigh in on this. Public comments for the main plant area are due by May 19th, and comments for the K31, K33 area are due by June 12th. We've got a rodeo to tell you about. A parking lot rodeo. It's an event held in the parking lot of contractor UCOR to help people learn about vehicle safety and sustainability efforts. Our Cameron Jacobs shows us the more than 400-person turnout.
So today we are celebrating the 2nd annual UCOR Vehicle Safety Rodeo in conjunction with the 4th annual CPWR National Stand Down for Struck By events. This event here is something we do every year, and we've set up an interactive set of task stations that people can see what it means to be in a blind spot. We have a section where they're allowed to guide a truck in and practice their skills in a very safe situation. We've had food trucks here, we've had entertainment here, some vendors here providing safety supplies and safety topics and things like that. It's been a great event to get employee engagement. This is, like I said, this is our 2nd annual event. I am told we're going to do this every year, and last year we had over 250 people, and I think we've exceeded that this year, and I hope to see it to grow in the future.
So it's very important that we do this type of an event, because this is all about employee engagement. It's getting the employees to come here and support the concept that we don't want to have an event. We don't want struck by events. And it's the policies and procedures, you're right, that's not what prevents people from having issues and having struck by events. It's the engagement of the folks in the field. It's their support, it's their paying attention, looking out, simply stopping when they see a hazard and saying, hey, we need to fix this before we move on. This is all about the employees. That's why it's important.
There's still a lot of work to be done and a lot of things that need to happen.
There are a lot of STEM opportunities available, and women are being encouraged to go into the field. We got to meet with 2 Vanderbilt grad students who are doing just that. Find out what they're studying that could lead to a long-awaited solution to a big problem in East Tennessee. But first, in honor of Energycast's first anniversary, let's go ahead and take a look back at some of the stories that made our year.
To see the footprint and everything, and understanding of just how big the building was.
You hope that you'll be able to see the history of the K-25 project.
It's not very often where a student gets taught by a person that has a master's in nuclear engineering and a PhD in artificial intelligence.
So you're retiring, but you're not done with this place yet.
I don't think I'm completely done with this place. I look forward to coming out here and taking advantage of some biking trails and showing friends.
Eliminating environmental liability, repurposing land, economic growth, historic preservation.
You know, I show up and there's like a little, welcome back banner and some little streamers in my office, and my boss, brought some muffins, and everybody acted like they was excited to see me, so that made me feel real special.
I love seeing all the kids get excited, in particular to me, the little ones in the glove box over here. If you've got a view, that was amazing.
We never thought Tyvek could be that fun.
We use a lot of fancy acronyms out here in Oak Ridge. I'm about to tell you another one. You ready? Consortium for Risk Evaluation with Stakeholder Participation. We call that CRESP. It's a group that provides support to DOE missions. CRESP partners with several universities like Vanderbilt, and 2 of their doctorate students came on out here for a tour. We decided to check in with them because we'd heard their research could help solve a really big problem here in East Tennessee.
I'm dying to know about what you're studying and how you chose this. So my advisor kind of handed me this project, but we kind of took off with it and really got into learning about the fundamentals of mercury and how it works, how we can dispose of it, how it behaves in the environment, how it would behave under these disposal scenarios.
When you come out this way and you actually get to see that stuff that you're studying in real life, what is that like for you?
It's like a kid in a candy shop, honestly. I just love seeing all of these systems that I've spent so much time reading about and analyzing the data from, and seeing just how they're implemented in real life. As an engineer, I love seeing it go from paper to the real life situation, and there's some extra level of understanding you get by seeing the system built and within its surroundings.
I think it's really exciting because it's giving us all these opportunities for long-term projects, long-term cleanup, and then taking what you learn from those things and applying it to different places throughout, the United States, the world.
So it's really exciting to see all of these young people so passionate about bringing their expertise to the table. But one of the other things that I really love too is not discounting the expertise that we already have. So all of the older generations who have had their career and made their mark on the industry, I think it's really important that we learn what we can from them and to take their knowledge and institutionalize it so that we can actually propel the industry forward rather than keep it stagnant.
Speaking of top young minds in STEM, 2 teams from Tennessee competed in this year's National Science Bowl in Washington, D.C. That event is sponsored by the Department of Energy. Middle and high school teams that win at the state level advance to the national competition. Started with 10,000 students, about 500 made it to Washington. Representing our state were Collierville High School from the Memphis area and Farragut Middle School from Knoxville. Well, folks at the Department of Energy love Earth Day. We've got scientists, environmental experts, and a whole lot of passionate employees at the federal building. Do you know the most pressing climate change issues facing the Southeast United States? We learn about them from a DOE scientist. Flooding, lightning, extreme heat, tornadoes, and coastal water level rise. Elizabeth Phillips had a whole bunch of great handouts and some books for us. She answered questions and helped employees learn ways to save money through energy efficiency at home. That was nice. She also explained some of the DOE sustainability goals.
We have to educate the federal workforce so that they are sustainable, focused, and climate change smart.
And this event certainly helped make that happen. She also had some Earth Day trivia out for employees. Let's check out one of those questions. This one's going to help you save money too. So which of these is not a way to save energy at home? A, caulk and weather strip around doors and windows. B, install ceiling fans to cool your home. C, adjust your thermostat to a higher temperature in the winter and a lower temperature in the summer. D, plant trees on the north and east sides of your home. E, air dry laundry and dishes. Ready? The answer is C. C is incorrect. You should adjust your thermostat to a lower temperature in the winter and a higher temperature in the summer to save energy and money. Hey, and another one of the big DOE sustainability goals is moving to electric vehicles. That rollout began last month with the first car pulling into the parking lot. DOE contractor United Cleanup Oak Ridge, or UCOR, received that car. Sites nationwide are beginning to transition their fleets. You know, transitioning the Oak Ridge fleet is estimated to avoid up to 320 metric tons in annual carbon emissions and about $50,000 in fuel costs each year. And EM and its contractor UCOR are also looking to expand solar energy installations on the Oak Ridge Reservation. 3 solar arrays have been installed at the East Tennessee Technology Park. Those arrays are providing 1.2 megawatts of renewable carbon-free power to the grid. Now they're trying to find spots for more arrays to be installed. We expect to know more this summer. The rubber duckies are bright, but the sun was not. Good thing these vehicles can take the elements. Find out how one of our employees pulled off an incredible weekend-long event for car lovers through tornadoes and even a literal dumpster fire. Yeah, that's coming up. But first, thank you so much to all the employees and community members who trust us with their stories and made our first year on air so impactful.
This thing is great at the bar where they have those high tables.
We called him McCracken. He had a one name. You know, a lot of people say Steve McCracken, but he was McCracken.
There's so many of these folks that I don't get to see as much as I like to.
Your test weight's supposed to be 1,000 grams, exactly, and it's right on.
Can't see.
Is that better?
Yeah. Where's the big boy?
I got it up this time. There's one for you.
She's outstanding in her field.
Oh, pucker lip.
We are really in the business of transforming.
We had a wonderful time. It was a great tour. I highly recommend it.
A nursing degree, you worked for Children's Hospital, and then you've got some business background and some ORL thrown in there.
Yeah, it's as I was saying many times during the campaign, it's a long and winding path.
It does make you feel good to come into work and knowing that what you're doing has some purpose.
We're going on a road trip. Energycast is heading to Tennessee Technical College in Cookeville. We are so excited to bring you along with us and share stories in next month's episode about a new partnership between EM, UCOR, and the school. That partnership will provide more educational opportunities for students. It'll also support workforce development efforts right here in Oak Ridge. Robertsville Middle School is putting a new grant to use. TVA awarded that money. The school will be starting a STEM business program with it. They recently held a STEAM night. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Some of our DOE team members were there giving students a chance to learn more about our work. We spoke with 2 6th grade best friends to find out if they plan to put their STEAM skills to use when they grow up.
I want to be a teacher. I want to be a nurse.
Yeah, with the weather warming up, this event was held outdoors. There were boats, drones, and bugs in about 25 booths. They played rock, mineral, or fossil at our booth. They also got to tear down and rebuild structures just like us. Another very timely honor with International Museum Day this month. The American Museum of Science and Energy, or AMSE, has earned the 2023 Award of Excellence. It's given through the Tennessee Association of Museums. AMSE's exhibit, The Science of the Signal, was recognized. That exhibit was only there temporarily. If you find yourself at the Federal Building in Oak Ridge, you'll often see a cool Jeep sitting in a parking spot outside. It likely belongs to one of the employees here whose love of cars runs deep. It's why she started East Tennessee's only overlanding event. That just means travel by land. But this year, the weather turned, and she credits her skills learned at DOE with keeping things on track. Parked between the hills and sitting in front of an old prison, the Southeast Overland camping event is in its third year. And this group, as mixed as East Tennessee weather.
We want to get a couple people together and it turned into a huge event.
Morgan Carden and her husband started it right after they got married.
It's hard to find friends with your hobbies, and we like to make friends. We like to make people feel accepted.
This year, they have 500 new friends. People in their 20s all the way up to Vietnam veterans made the drive.
And that was just so nice to see all these people coming together. They never knew each other, never met once, and then they met there and they had the best time.
They rolled in from across the country.
Vendors and campers alike coming all the way from Portland, Oregon, Utah, Arkansas, all kinds of places.
So too did a spring storm.
Well, we watched the weather, you know, the couple weeks rough forecast, and it always shows rain. And it's usually not bad because we're like, it's East Tennessee, it's spotty, it'll be sunny one day, rainy the next. And as it got closer, it was showing a lot of sun, slight thunderstorms, no big deal.
And it wasn't at first. Friday was just about perfect.
We have a huge training tent set up, and we'll do training everywhere from off-road recovery repairs, we do a first aid, trauma care.
But as night fell, the chance for severe weather rose.
The storms kept growing on the radar and the wind kept picking up, and it got darker and the sirens.
That's when Carden knew it was time to switch gears. Volunteer firefighters who were attending the event jumped in to help.
We had a lot of the guys running around throughout the day and staking up the tents and saving people's property as much as we could because a lot of them were gone. A lot of them were on trail rides.
Carden says her own training as a project manager for the Department of Energy helped her make safe and smart decisions at every turn.
It's taught me how to keep all different types of people on the same track and keep to schedule and under cost. It helped a lot, actually. It was definitely like my own project during the year at home trying to get this whole event situated.
Sunday morning brought cleanup, and just when they thought things had calmed down from the weekend's rain, wind, and water, there was fire.
We had a dumpster fire to just top off our weekend.
No one was hurt. It was quickly put out. Surprisingly, Carden says the attendees were not.
It sounds like a lot of the vendors are saying, sign me up for next year. This was great. We had a good time.
The people who gather here know how to navigate a tough road, and they end up on this path for the same reason.
I think this event's helped us just as much as it's helped other people.
Despite the weather, the message was clear. You'll always have a spot here. We're on the road next month. We told you we'd be taking things up a level in our second year. Energycast has its first road trip, and we're going to take you along for the ride. We'll have special coverage of a new partnership with Tennessee Tech that'll benefit students there and DOE's cleanup program. Our team is also working on a story that will take you deep underground. Scientists and engineers will explain technologies EM plans to use to address contaminated groundwater at ETTP. Plus, you'll see a town right here in East Tennessee operated by elementary students. Thank you for joining us for Energycast for a whole year. New episodes come out on the third Sunday of the month. You can watch on air and online. We post Energycast episodes on our Facebook and YouTube pages the day after they air. Head on over to follow us on our social media accounts. We're always happy to answer questions and share information with you there as well. It has been a privilege to host Energycast for the last 12 months. Our continued goals in our second year are to share updates from all across the Oak Ridge Reservation that honor the past, explain the present, and look toward the future. To the employees and community members who have trusted us to tell their stories, thank you. And to those who ran away when we brought the camera around during the holidays, well, you've got 6 months until we do it again. Plan your exit strategy or practice your Christmas carols because we are coming for you. And remember, if you work in environmental management in Oak Ridge, keep us in mind if you come across a story. We are always looking for news tips and story ideas from across the reservation. Email your ideas to oakridgeem@orem.doe.gov. Let us know there. You might just see it right here. See you next time.